bother me. All these petty worries are just a distraction. We're taught these things since an early age. It's all become so innate and ingrained. We're left feeling inept if we don't fit the mold of how our lives are supposed to be. Everyone needs to open their eyes and realize that the world is comprised of so much more than the latest train-wrecked Hollywood horde. This is my Earth Peace haiku. Okay.
Be close to the mic.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Okay. So heavy is my heart. We all deserve happiness. All life is precious. So few people see that the world is so much more than what they believe. I wish I could share my feelings about world peace. Too few people care. It's not just humans, but all of the wildlife too that deserve to thrive. People claim to care, yet destructive practices still destroy nature. While wishful thinking won't solve all the world's problems, one has to have hope. Hope for improvements, hope that more people will care to strive for world peace. Trying to decide between one more. Alright. Don't let it get you down. Don't let it get you down, whatever it may be. Know that the world is all that you can make it out to be. Do what you love, and that's all you can do. Fuck what people say to discourage you. Don't let your mistakes foster regrets. That's one of the worst things that you could let yourself do. Stay focused on your dreams, and always stay true to you. I get a little rhyme. I have one more.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Okay, this is called Memories Never Die. What's on my mind? Wishing I could pause time. It's gone so fast, never to be taken back. As a matter of fact, scratch that. Time is everlasting, if only in your mind. The power to rewind is within you all the time. So come what may, people come and go in life every day. All you have to do is reach inside and turn back time. It doesn't matter if you weren't able to say goodbye. Time may be fleeting, but memories never die.
Thank you. That's Annie Wood there. We like that. Passion and truth. All right. Now we have Kathleen Wood coming up. Give a nice round for her, please, as she comes forward. The Woods have it tonight.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. This is called Fair Warning. You approach me with a guileless smile, another pretty savior with lusting eyes. You tell me I've hooked up with the wrong men, that you appreciate me. You say I am wild, a creature of the forest. Do you presume to tame me? To set me free? Be careful when you extend that smooth scholar's hand to me. The she-wolf in my heart has been starving all her life. Given half a chance, she'll swallow you whole. When I tell you this, you blink and laugh nervously. Then you invite me home for dinner. Very well. I warned you. Come to me, my dear. The other one's a bit more recent, not much more recent. Unnamed poem. My mind never sleeps. My mind swirls with images, words, the faces of the dead and other people's memories. Vivid, minimal, violent. Blood on black and white checkered tile. I am a woman without a home. I am a stripper. What does this mean to you? What What do you think it means to me? Shall I tell you? I can't relate to the gentleman. There's no point of intersection. Intercourse is forbidden. Still, they hand me their crumpled bills. Still, I give the money to landlords, bartenders, minimum wage slaves, wasting away in dead-end jobs. Don't tell me to join them. I'm afraid to die. I'm afraid of AIDS. I interrogate my lovers. What is that, a bruise? How do I know you're telling the truth? Pressure on the points of intersection. Accusations leap along the telephone line. Dial tone. No more. Death squats on the branch of a charred tree. Death can wait. I need to get away, but there aren't any safe places left. I think about Tokyo and Hollywood. Combine these towns and you enter a cyberpunk movie that's derived from a Greek tragedy, and it's beginning to dawn on you that you are the sacrifice. The movie's producers are Tijuana snuff kings. You never had a chance. That's what you get for being so pretty and so weird. No, you're not safe. No, I'm not safe. Freeways collapse. The earth trembles. It could all come down tomorrow, and today is just a cell and a nightmare. The one with the steel walls that slowly move in on you. Remember me? I remember you. You were the jailer, and then I was the jailer. And the next night it was your turn again. Yes, of course that's why you can't sleep anymore. Don't listen to your therapist, listen to me. This might be our final chance to solve the puzzle before the entire apparatus collapses on top of us. Please wake up. Please, oh please wake me up. The chance intersection is over. Both rivers race away from one another toward very separate fates. Death can wait. Death is time.
Kathleen Wood, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. All right. I mean, the hits just keep coming. Let me read the next five so we know who we're at. We have Philip Zimmerman, then Iona, who is new, Hal Robbins, Dr. Hal, Clara Garrett, Greg, the Mini, Marvin, then Bruce, then Buford, the last word. So give a nice round of applause as Philip comes up here. His calm, serene exterior is belied by the passionate upwell of craziness. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Don't give anything away.
Okay. Internal drift. Young men from Arabia accelerate to 100 miles an hour and release control. The lover confesses his love. The sickened man accepts his seat in the car of illness. The mind, unanchored, forgets where it set the keys when it paid a bill, the name of the first to die. Forgets the electricity of that first touch and how shocking it was. How shocking it was to look into his eyes and see no life. The front of the car starts to point in a direction other than the one you are heading. Words like careen, veer have new meaning. Stars no longer align. Tragedy is seated beside you, and your seatbelt has been clipped. Thank you.
Philip Zimmerman, thank you. Concise and direct, we like that. And now, Iona, who is new to us, needs the traditional sacred grounds welcome as she comes forward. Come on, people, let's have it. Oh, what do you want to do? We'll come back next time.
I don't write poetry, but I enjoy memorizing and reciting Langston Hughes.
Good. You're here.
I'll do 3 of his short poems. He created this character called the Madam, and I'll do Madam's Past History, Madam's calling card, and Madam in the red man. My name is Johnson, Madam Alberta Kate. The madam is the business. I'm smart that way. I used to have a hairdressing parlor before the Depression set the prices down so low. Then I had a barbecue stand till I got mixed up with a no-good man. 'Cause I had insurance, the WPA said, we can't use you wealthy that way. I said, don't worry about me, just like the song. You WPA folks take care of yourself. I'll get along. I could do housework and day work too. Alberta K. Johnson, madam to you. I had some cards printed the other day. They cost me more than I wanted to pay. I told the man I wasn't no mint, but I hankered to see my name in print. Madam Johnson, Alberta K. He said, your name looks good, madam, that way. Shall I use Old English or Roman letter? I said, use American. American's better. There's nothing foreign about my pedigree. Alberta K. Johnson, American. That's me. Madam and the red man. The red man knocked and he said, how do you do? I said, what can I do for you? He said, madam, you know, your rent is due. I said, listen, before I pay you, I'll go to Hades and rot away. The sink is broken, the water don't run. You ain't did a thing you promised have done. The back window's cracked, the kitchen floor squeaks, there's rats in the cellar, and the attic leaks. He said, madam, it's not up to me. I'm just the agent, can't you see? I said, naturally you pass the buck, but if it's money you want, you're out of luck. He said, madam, I'm not pleased. I said, neither am I, so we agreed.
Well done. Thank you. Iona Law Horn, right? Got it. All right. Woo-hoo! And I just want to let you know that Langston Hughes is one of our favorites here because we've had several people over the years who really read and recited. We had one guy, this guy, where is he? Carlos Ramirez, who set some of his poems to music and would sing that along with Greg over there. They did performances, so it's really nice to hear more of his work. Thank you so much. All right, and speaking of that, we have Mr. Hal Robbins coming up now, so give me a round of applause for Dr. Hal, the famed and infamous and the wondrous yet sublime.
Well, thank you. In keeping with the washing machine theme, I had to bring in a book that I was responsible for some years ago about doing laundry, and especially what happens to socks when they are lost and mismatched. The book, if you ever want to try to get it, is called The Meaning of Lost and Mismatched Socks. And this is from the section called The Dark Agitator and the Cylinder Vortex. Washers and dryers, the culprits? Let us take a second look at that household stalwart, the electrically powered washing machine, and its co-conspirator, the clothes dryer. These hulking, rectangular, whitish devices, themselves often closely resembling a matched pair in most respects, are the vectors for the stream of departing footwear. Though mechanically the physics of their standard operation appears deceptively simple, both are known to create electrical fields as an apparent byproduct. Science acknowledges that matter pulled past the event horizon of a body of abnormally high atomic density, such as a collapsed neutron star or so-called black hole, may bubble up unexpectedly in some other sector of this universe, or even in some other universe. Similar forces are at work, if only for a nanosecond, when sock pairs, having been hand-separated for the wash cycle, are permanently parted for all time. Through the action of a singularity in space-time or chronosynclastic infundibulum, One sock of a pair is instantaneously projected along an unstable vector to an unknown region of the cosmos. Either the dark agitator of the washing machine disrupting by its shape and action, or the vortex within the ceaselessly whirling cylinder of the clothes dryer, or both, create the nexus when the conditions are absolutely optimal for far sending a single sock on a voyage of unfathomable mystery. And I have a short poem here by Ruth Stone from her book In an Iridescent Time. We are fascinated by gadgets here in the U.S., but most of the world uses a simple washboard, which is also a machine, and most washing machines are people washing clothes by hand the old-fashioned way. In an Iridescent Time. My mother, when young, scrubbed laundry in a tub. She and her sisters on an old brick walk under the apple trees, sweet rub-a-dub. The bees came round their heads, the wrens made talk. 4 young ladies, each with a rainbow board, honed their knuckles, wrung their wrists to red, tossed back their braids, and wiped their aprons wet. The Jersey calf beyond the back fence roared. All that soft day the swarms about their pet buzzed at his big brown eyes and bullish head. 4 times the soapy wash they rinsed, they said. Some things were starched, then gathered from the baskets 2 by 2 and pinned the fluttering intimacies of life between the lilac bushes and the yew, brown gingham, pink, and skirts of Alice blue.
Dr. Howe. Be famous. All right, we now have the gentle, measured mercy of Clara Sue coming forth here, and then after her, give her a round as she comes up. And after this, another stellar performance. Here we have Garrett Murphy, Greg Pond, Marvin Heimstra, Bruce, and Buford. So we're kicking it tonight.
Okay, so I'm the one who started with this.
With the washing machine
theme.
You too can pick a theme.
I'm combining 2 poems together. The first part is about the washing machine, and the second part is about hand washing. So the title of the poem is Washing. Things tumble, rumble, swirl. Things get agitated, pissed on. China, Vietnam, Bolivia, Kenya, misidentified. Wet noodles froth, blind cyclone rings together things within the thing. Each cycle a little more blended, a little more pale. Open the window. Water in the sink, dark drops splashing the counter, wetting walls, floor, body, hair, long silken hair of the cloudy soup, and the Indian cotton skirt scrubbed, twisted, squeezed, whirled in the water. Color loosens with the hair, skinny dipping loosened strands drift in octopus ink. Living and non-living things are mostly inseparable. The water isn't black, though the skirt and hair look black. Black is dark things, black. Berries make dye. Charcoal was once eyeliner. Composite seaweed stirring in cold water washing. The suggestion never crosses the mind as black, but indigo, the crushed berry skin tart on the tongue. Thank you.
Clara Sue, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! All right, Garrett Murphy is coming up next. Then we have Greg, then Marvin, then Bruce, then Buford. And this is one of my favorite poets in the city. He comes over here from a long way, and he always knocks it out really well. We really appreciate that. Give him a nice round as he comes up here, please.
And one small announcement: I'll be one of 5 features at the Lyrics and Dirges next Wednesday at Pegasus Bookstore in Berkeley on Shadigan Durant at 7:30 p.m. Outline: you're out of sight. I am out of your mind. I am out of vapor. Who, me? Out of luck. I beg your pardon. Out of sense. Nonsense. Out of bounds. Your bounds. Out of place. Oh, really? Out of season? Am I some sort of plant? You're out of here. I protest. You're out of line. Well, of course I'm out of line. Just not in the way you'd like to think. Your psychic survival depends on my staying in what you take to be a line. Therefore, one can survive as I have survived, namely by being precisely out of line. Your line, that is. Private eye. Here we go for only the multi-zillion time ever. We bring you the great discovery of privatization. Yes, privatization, the world's greatest discovery of all time. Better than the wheel, better than learning to read, than altruism, than the discovery of fire, than the entry into space, and especially and even democracy itself. Privatization enables you to acquire all you can own for your exclusively optional use. Your booty is not just in good hands, it's in your good hands. So 3 cheers for the ability to privatize. Sing praises for the ability to possess. Well, and should others object? Well, it is your property. You can toss them out in the slightest of whims, or better yet, not even allow them in the first place. Your private sector is yours and yours alone to decide who goes in and who goes out, or not at all. The next best thing to your very own kingdom, and it can be built into almighty an empire. And remember, just remember, Woolworths was also a private domain. This final piece it's called Truth Plus Self Equals, and it was influenced in part by Langston Hughes. Listen to your inner self, good people. Be true to that self, good people. If more of you did that, crime just might drop its jaw.
Garrett Murphy. Always. Thank you so much. And now our mini feature of the evening, they get about 8 minutes in the second half, and then we have Marvin, Bruce, and Buford to close it up, with Buford having the last word. So give the Honorable Mr. Pond a round of applause as he comes forward, thinking, of course, that I'm not talking about him.
Good evening, and thank you for staying. The poems I picked have nothing to do with the theme.
It's all right. It's an advisory thing.
But they do kind of follow somewhat of a theme. And the theme is, I guess it's Harlem and jazz, I guess, because the 3 poems have something to do with that. So, all right. Let me just get right to it. And the first one is entitled Harlem Garden, and that's Garden, Harlem Garden. The world and time much too quickly flew by as my Afrocentric friend and I sat chatting in a garden in Harlem. Surrounded by bloom and urban gloom, we spoke of fresh flowers, dried lovers, and future flights. of outsiders moving to Sugar Hill, stealing stars from the black night. The salsa parties lasting long past first sign of light. We weave stories of straw baskets and petty crime, kente cloth and dogs, stray cats of 9 lives, as summer time much too quickly flew by. As my friend of African style and I sat chatting in a garden in Harlem, where fresh mustard greens, old deferred dreams, and more were spliced with new couples, mixed, gay, white, and pro, plus ongoing trouble with the neighbor next door. We talked about the history, a culturally rich stew, from Apollo to either bridge or river, though the fate of jazz is a mystery in a haven for blacks and blues. Harlem remains an ever-changing place to live, from the Bronx's edge across Morningside to Central Park's ridge. So much left to see, but much less than enough time for me to barely say goodbye before the world and time much too quickly flew by, as my friend who leans to the African side and I sat chatting in a garden in Harlem. And on the same theme, this is for my uncle, Eddie. It's entitled Eddie Knew. After hours jazz man, just as bad as he can be. Let not one note slip by while every horn guy blew a textured history. Every fingered moment spent tickling ivory. Every song ever recorded in the key of C. Eddie knew them all, and even if he didn't, he could always recall someone they knew or played with at Smalls. Always some club, some set, some jam, even the personnel of every changing band. There was nothing about jazz he hadn't heard, nothing he didn't know. Now he's gone off to critique angels who play the late, late show. As I started with Harlem Garden, G-A-R-D-E-N, this one is a follow-up entitled Harlem Garding, G-U-A-R-D-I-N-G. Back in Harlem again. No garden this time, just my Afrocentric friend and I talking, walking along the by and by, checking out who, remembering when, wondering what's with all the new boutiques and cutesy spots popping up on side streets. New visions of a culture fading in the shadows of deferred dreams. The locked store shops that stopped welcoming those who look like me. My African-clad friend confers, it's enough to make you sad if it doesn't make you scream. People priced out of once affordable homes that some once owned. Now most don't earn salaries that would even make a dent to cover the annual increase landlords add to the monthly rent. So finally down to the last few cents, too many had to pack up and leave. Harlem's still the same in many ways, but man, how Harlem sure has changed. Strolling out at about 4 o'clock, 125th Street, busy as can be. Though I have to admit, the loss of local landmarks, a bit of a shock. Plus the growing number of white folks walking dogs and living on each block. And everywhere you look now, there's a more visible presence of cops guarding their property and precious lives like they never guarded yours or mine. Yep. I recall him feeling a little hollow seeing Metallica's name instead of the Roots displayed on the marquee of the Apollo, and feeling somewhat like a foreigner seeing European-style cafes suddenly on every other corner. I know the changing face of Harlem is something to behold,
But just because its face may change shouldn't make it lose its soul. Old Harlemites still choose to visit family restaurants and sacred pews. A shrinking history is all they feel they've got. They cling tight to the tried and true, tied to tradition because they don't fit the new. A legacy now reduced down to a few bars, barber, and beauty shops. But if we all listen, we can hear something clicking, maybe the ticking of the ancestral clock saying, it's not too late. There's still a way to keep Harlem great if you give it our best shot. But I hear my African-oriented friend mourning the loss and sensing the end of a community no longer vibrant in the way it was back then. And though we recognize the shift from Renaissance memories to new tech glitz, there's a fear that much of the history will get steered right off the cliff. It's enough to break your heart, and it's enough to make you wish you knew Harlem back in the day, before jazz, blacks, and blues were forced to vacate because they couldn't pay the cost and were made to walk across St. Nicholas to hear Duke play Satin Doll and Take the A Train. Right. And so it was, and now it is. When gentrification comes to any town, only the last ones left around ever win. Those that bring the money will have the most to say as soon as the old guard and past relics die off or get replaced. The very thought haunts my friend who sleeps with Africa deep in her veins, she says. May the ghosts of our ancestors remain to stand guard, so old memories don't escape through the new gates of Harlem.
Oh, wow. Great fun, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up. Give it up. Keep it going. Is it any wonder? All right. Thank you so much, Greg. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, an upcoming feature, Mr. Marvin Heimster, would you kindly take the mic? He's going to be featuring here on the 25th, so give him a nice round. Bruce, I hope you're ready because you're next. And then Buford, you're the closer.
Happy to be here. This is an informational poem for any men in the audience who are planning to move to the Middle West and change their careers. This is from a book in progress of prose poems built 100% on the truth. This is a sandwich poem with the same title at the beginning and the end, and the title is Don't Be Late. The Midwest is not called the Bible Belt for nothing. What goes on below the belt is often the issue. One town of 7,000 has endured more than its share of full-service ministers. The most notorious, Reverend Green, began in a quiet way, offering meditative horseback rides to lonely farmers' wives. A local hardware store soon ran out of pitchforks. Reverend Green was truly an amazing multitasker, collecting at least 17 women who were justifiably upset when they discovered each one was not the only one with whom Reverend Green was throwing away his career and relocating to Budapest. A collective action case of 17 seriously abused women appeared in that county court. First woman to testify set the tone and brought down the judge. I'm here to say that Reverend Green raped me Tuesday morning on the altar. 5 Tuesdays in a row. Don't be late. Thank you.
So come back for him on the 25th or whenever he comes here. Thank you. Bruce, come on up, and then Buford, our clincher, closer, super duper bulldozer. Give this man a round, please. He comes up here, and we'll take care of these prizes, and we're off and running again.
I have two contradictory things to say. I do have a slight vocal disability. You can hear 2 to surgery. Our esteemed guest asked me to read this out. Thank you, Al. Bebop for Jack Kerouac. The web-based killers. A tale of man stalking spiders wins our class contest. Betty Jones, the brain who wins everything, wins again. But my teacher's eyes, I thought they might like your tale better. He refers to shades wearing Hector, my 8th grade take on an ultra cool 50s hepcat who reads Mad Magazine like me, who knows bebop musicians and rebel writers like that Kerouac guy I saw on TV. Everybody's so scared in our little town. Daddy-o, I want out. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Cut to 1958's big hit, a song of three-way sex that led to death. Tom's Denise makes me want to weep. Grandma died. I loved her. I can't stop crying. Who'll end my father's abuse now? I run away from home. But where can I go? I'll get caught and sent to juvie. Then what will happen? Back at home, no one knows I left. I'll kill my father. I grab a butcher's knife. What have I got to lose? A love of writing. That's all. Bebop the top daddy-o. I've had some vocal problems. I'll just do 4 lines. This is, oh, you don't say. The great poet. Ha! Oh. Oh, I left that line back. Sorry about that. Oh, let's again. The great poet. Ha! What did you say? Oh, the late poet. What did you say?
That's Bruce Hanson. And now our creature closer, super duper bulldozer, getting the last word, Mr. Bunton, coming up here. Then we take care of these fancy, wonderful prizes that I keep on bragging on. And we'll be done with this evening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. So give them a nice little round, please.
Although I've read volumes of Langston Hughes, this is the one poem that I know by heart. It's called Motto. I play it cool and dig all jive. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto as I live and learn is to dig and be dug in return.
I consider him America's best poet ever. Now we're going to move a little bit to
The Strange Side of Sesame Street. This is called Barney. A large, unshaven man lies asleep in a Valencia Street laundromat, consuming the bench where customers usually sit. A Barney blanket covering him imploring, "I love you," on its cover. There was quite experience. New College was quite experienced in itself, but being nestled on Valencia Street, in this process of becoming gentrified, not being there yet was really interesting. Around 2006, when I got my master's degree, that was the year I got it. This is called being married. I've been divorced about 15 years, so. And I was married about almost 20 years, so here it is. Being married is being mad at someone else besides myself. It's an improvement being in love with someone other than my narcissistic mirror image.
Words of wit and wisdom. Experience.
It's tough. Here's another one about Sesame Street. I have a 38-year-old nephew, and when he was a little kid, we used to watch Sesame Street a lot. I got hooked. This is called Reality. Cookie Monster has never eaten a cookie, having no oral opening, only puppet claw and a hand to impersonate a mouth. Snuffleupagus is merely a monster-like personification of a bad cold, something many of us have had. Ernie splashes into cartoon water, and Big Bird superimposes himself upon an illustrated beach with a blue boombox. Snuffleupagus. Sesame Street, a fabulous teaching tool that incorporates televised phonetics with sound learning techniques. Every young and sometimes not so young child's spectacular electronic babysitter. From my 33-year-old stepdaughter to my 28-year-old nephew to the little girl 5 or 6 years old, maybe watching a new episode on a gigantic restaurant TV, reality has merged with child fantasy, one ringy-dingy at a time. There used to be a picture. This used to be in here, and this is called "The U.S. Air Force plane shoots toward Einstein's head." The United States shoots toward the heads of Iraqi men, women, children, soldiers, building monuments, statues, desert sand dunes, Gulf battleships, Iraqi babies and baby carriages, pregnant mothers pushing them, old women and men duck their heads and bombs explode off their houses. Meanwhile, here in the United States, we suck up oil driving and driving and driving. Einstein's wild head and serious face stare into the gloom. Okay. Here's I'm going to end it on a lighter note about a crush that I've had for about 10, 15 years. This is called Cupid Doll. Cupid Doll in culotte-like clothes, layered, casual, under 5 feet maybe, perfect braids, gorgeous, light bronze, aging face, lack of sleep, porcelain, white teeth. "You're not going to do that to me, goddammit," she condemns the schedule mistake. "View," she says to me, affection pouring from her beautiful, narrow mouth. That was it for me. We moved some of her artwork from the room. I kiss her where her amazing curls meet her exquisite forehead skin. My work partner sits at the law school computer a couple of days later. It took her 2 hours to calm down when she got upset. It seemed like a long time to him. I wake up on Monday, have to work until 10 p.m., wonder if she'll be there in her mausoleum of art.
Thank you. Buford Button. All right, so now we get to take care of the door prizes for the evening. If you signed in, there's a number next to your name. There's cards with numbers on them, as you see, like this. And Clara Sue is going to shuffle them for me because she's sitting right there and she's willing. This is a very interesting little book. So, just to let you know, I mean, if it just said pt4 Grooks 2, you go, huh? But listen, words of encouragement. Stomachache can be a curse. Heartache may be even worse. So thank heaven on your knees if you've got but one of these. This is largesse. A grook about giving one's plenty. It's pleasant to give without feeling the price. So let us be nobly profuse of the bottomless treasure of moral advice we anyhow never make use of. So a little bit of humor there. Revolutionary Notebook by Mark Schwartz. Before me there were Deserts by, I don't know how to say this. She might have a better idea. It's Turkish, for the Turkish Musa Yenye, and it's translated from the Turkish. Then, of course, choosing the next week's theme, the mini feature, the keynote, or having the last word. The cards have been shuffled. I'm about to draw them forth. And a drum roll, please. Thank you. Mr. Bunton, you are the first card of the evening.
Can I do the mini feature?
You may be the mini feature. I'll put you down there now, Mr. Bunton. All right, thank you. And the next card, please, a drum roll bit. Iona, you are one of the winners of the evening. She can take any one of these or decide on one of the cards, whatever her pleasure is. You can be the last word next time, or choose the theme for next week, or be the keynote, the person who speaks first next week, or then any one of these three books could be hers if she wants. Say again? Revolutionary Notebook by Mark Schwartz. He's a well-known writer here. This is translated from the Turkish by the author. Before me there were Deserts. It's edited by Jack Hirschman, so there's some interesting there. And the little funny pieces are pt4 Grooks number 2.
I think number 1.
The Turkish translation?
Revolutionary.
Oh, the Revolutionary Poets. Could you hand that to her, please?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Philip Zimmerman. Philip Zimmerman. What would you like, dear?
Bobby's brother, Philip.
Bobby Z. He goes. I think he's going for the Grooks. Thank you so much. Clara, are you interested?
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Your prize for them.
Oh, again?
Well, your card came up.
I have a theme.
Oh, you have a theme. Oh, wait a minute. A Clara theme here. What is the theme?
Blinkers.
Link what?
Blinkers.
Lincoln. Like the president.
Blinkers.
Blinkers. Oh, okay. Blinkers. Can we do blinking or blinked? Okay. So we got the theme of the blinkers. Okay.
Blinkers.
Hal Robbins. Last word keynote, or before me there were Deserts. He goes for the Deserts. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Didn't mean to rush the man.
Well, I think I will.
He will. He goes for that. Kathleen Wood. She left. Okay. Marvin, would you care to do the keynote or the last word? Well, are you going to be? Wait a minute.
I'm not next.
Oh, would you like to do the last word of the keynote next week, or?
Well, the first one is great.
Excuse me? Keynote? Yes. Okay. Okay, Marvin, you're in for the keynote. All right. Oh, Mr. Al Auerbach. You could have the last word next week if you want. That's the remaining prize if you would care to.
Oh, the last.
You don't have to.
But I may not be here. I may be in Berkeley. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Is that so? Can I pass?
Yes, you can. It's fine to pass. I just want to know that this is the remaining prize, and your name came up, and I had to at least make sure what your wishes were.
Formalities.
Formalities, yes.
It's becoming a bureaucratic thing.
Mr. Owen, would you like the last word?
Do you have any more books?
No, the books are removed from the. Last word?
Last word.
Okay, I put you on here. Thank you, Mr. Dunn.
Okay.
All right, and Clyde Always, which is right over there, who is right over there, is our feature next week. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did, and come back next week, weather and authorities permitting. Thank you so much. Give yourself a round of applause, and schmooze or lose.